נכון.
Hola.
Hello. Hmm. Mr. Alan. Hi, Alan.
Good evening. Good evening. Good.
How you feeling?
I feel wonderful, Baruch Hashem. I feel
Good.
terrific. Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go the extra mile tomorrow.
Okay.
You want to join me on the run?
No, I can't. I'm busy.
Oh, okay. I couldn't make a mile. maybe in a few weeks. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Okay.
You changed rooms for your recording, Alan?
I'm not in a different room tonight. Yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe more comfortable chair.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a minyan in our house every night for Milchamar. If you want to join
Yes,
us.
I know.
We have about 30 people coming.
Wow. You can start collecting membership.
Yeah, next lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's convenient because there's plenty of parking around the house, and they come in and they daven very quickly Milchamar together. So
Okay.
all the neighbors come in. Well, all right, I don't mind as long as my wife doesn't mind. That's all. She wants it.
Okay.
So
Oh, Kenny, how are you, Kenny?
Hey, buddy.
How's everything?
Excellent.
George,
Yes, good evening.
good evening. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, everything is good. Long day at the VA. Teaching
Okay.
and complicated patients.
Okay. Listen, you're saving the world. You
I
save a
don't know
life.
about that.
You save a life, you save the world.
That's
You
true.
You have
One
big
life is as
spussy.
if you save the world.
yeah.
Very true.
And Kenny's saving the world from the other side.
How's that?
Well, he's making a lot of money for people, so he saves
I
them.
don't know. Only on a good day these days, but Emir Hashem will be more good days than bad days.
That's what matters.
And
More
thank
good
God
days
we
than
don't
bad
live in
days.
Syria and we don't live in Turkey because that looks bad.
But we live in California, which isn't so good.
Yeah, but it's almost 20,000 or 21,000 people
No, it's
there.
going to be much more, much
Oh,
more.
it's for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
They don't even know,
Yeah.
Terrible. Poor people, really poor people.
Okay.
Interesting. One comment about it is that I received a notice that the Russians contacted Israel to send help
Yes,
right away, which is surprising given the fact that it's Syria and Turkey.
Wow.
Israel's a kind nation.
Well, not only that, their knowledge in this field is second to none, unfortunately. So, they
Mhm.
develop things. Ernie, I'm sure you're familiar with this, that, this whole idea of protecting, my field is in kidneys. So they were the ones who first pioneered the idea that even before you get a person that's been crushed out of the crush site, the first thing you do is put an IV and start
Flushing.
putting in fluid massively to try to see if you can prevent
Right.
the muscle
myoglobin.
from accumulating.
Right, myoglobin.
Yeah, but don't use myoglobin with these people. Come on. The
What do you
breakdown
mean?
of
I
the
know what a
muscle.
hermaphrodite is in medical terminology.
When the
now.
when the muscle breaks down, it can damage the kidneys, and
Yep,
that's
shuts them
crushing.
down. When we had the Northridge earthquake, it was Meshuggah. I had to leave my daughter with my mother-in-law because I had 3 emergencies at St. Joseph's in Burbank of major crush injuries.
Right, that needed maybe
They
you
needed
to do
dialysis
emergency
right away.
Dialysis.
Yep. One guy, if you can believe it, was living in an apartment where the kitchen was above his bedroom with only a very limited banister or something to hold it from coming down. And during the earthquake, the refrigerator fell on him.
Oh, my.
So anyway, but Baruch Hashem, he recovered completely after about 3 months of dialysis. He completely recovered. All right, let's get to the Gemara.
Okay.
Much more interesting.
Right, Tet Zion Amid Aleph, 15. Amarle Rabbi Yossi Koi Kavosech. Rabbi Yossi holds like you. So they said that to Rabbi Shaya. The Amar. Mikanu Labo Mitami. That means a Zav or a Zava. It doesn't go backwards. It only goes forwards. And that's why the Tumah earlier on does not break the Yom HaShvi. How can you say that according to Rabbi Yossi, it goes forward? Rabbi Yossi said the Tumah goes back. But not Midaraisa. That's only Midarabanan. So Midaraisa does not affect the Nazir. Here comes an interesting question. Rabbi Yossi, Sarah makes us a Yom Kekulo. We already developed the notion that Rabbi Yossi holds that part of the day is like the whole day. So then the question comes up, Zava Gemura Demaisa Korban Hechem Mishkachaslo. The din by a Zava is that during the 11 days of the Zivus period, she bleeds, say day 1, day 2, day 3. Then she becomes a Zava Gdola, and then she has to count 7 clean days and bring korbanos. But if you hold Miktas Yom Kekulo, and let's say she bled up until noontime, and from noontime to the rest of the day, she didn't bleed. Using the principle of Miktas Yom Kekulo, we would say, okay, even though it was only part of the day that she was tore, we view it as it's the whole day. So if it's the whole day that she's tore, how could she ever become a Zava Gedola? And for the Gemara, Kivan de Chazia, the Pagid de Yom. But that's part of the Idich Pagid de Yom Salik Leila Shimur. Even if she bled for half the day, the other half a day that she was tore would tend, if it's Miktas Yom Kekulo, it's as if the whole day was tore. So how then can you have a real Zava Gedola? So the Gemara gives some answers. Iboy Sema de Koshofa, Tlasa Yoimi Bahadi Adon. The Gemara gives an easy answer. Someone who bled continuously. Day 1, day 2, day 3, the whole day. So she never had a period of Tahara. So that would, so according to even if you hold Miktas Yom Kekulo, you could become a Zava Gdola if you bled continuously for 3 days. That's answer 1. Or she could bleed 3 days in a row, but eat, let's say Shkia, sunset was 6 p.m. And every day she bled from 5 p.m. through 6 p.m. until after 6 p.m. So since she's metame at the end of the day, and basically going into the next day, so it's as if she doesn't have a period of time where we can say miktas yom kakula to make her tohar. Shalavi shows bayom the salik le'liminyana that it would allow her to be considered really to have a yom tahara against the yomei tumah. Hadan lachareni nazir, hadan lachareni nazir, hadan lachareni. New parak shlishi. Misha Amar Hareni Nazir. Person declares regular Naziris. Doesn't say I'm going to be a Nazir for 30 days, or I'm going to be a Nazir for 50 days, or 100 days. He says a regular, the term Hareni Nazir. Now, we've already learned, it's already machlokas we had in Daf Hey, Rav Maslan, Rav Pada, Bar Pada, that Stam Naziris is 30 days. Because it says Yiyah, Kadosh Yiyah. According to Rav, that was according to Rav Masna. When Rav Pada was 29 days. So if a person says already Nazir, Megalech Yom Shloishim ve'echad. Lechatchila, he's got to keep 30 days. And he takes his haircut on the 31st day. And then he brings his korbanos. However, there's a leniency. Im gilech liyom shloshim yotza. He took his haircut on the 30th day. So again, using the principle of miktas yom kekulo, he kept the 30. He kept, even if he only kept part of the day, it's as if he kept 30 days. However, if he specifically said, Harini Nazir Shloishim Yom, then you need a full Shloishim Yom. In Gileach Liyom Shloishim Lo Yatsa. If he took his haircut on that case, on the 30th day, he have to fulfill full 30 days and take a haircut on the 34th day. Misha Nazar Shtei Naziris. A person accepted himself 2 back-to-back Nazirises. So, Megalechas Arishona Yom Shloshim Vechad. It's no different from the first statement in the Mishnah, which Lechatchila, you want to take the haircut on the 31st day, and then Vesashniya Yom Shishim Ve'echad. So, on so it in the end,
That's you start the
you're
second.
taking
zeros
the
on the-
second one, you're taking the haircut on the 30th day. If you took your haircut on the 31st, and then technically you start counting on that day,
Oh, okay.
the first day it's going to be 30 days.
So the second one starts on the 31st day.
It starts immediately after he took his haircut.
Okay.
Here comes the leniency. Vim gilechas harishona yom shloshim, megalechas hashniya yom shishim. Remember, we said b'di'evet, if you took your haircut on the 30th day, not the 34th, it works. So therefore, if he took the second haircut on the 60th day, it also works. However, im gileach b'yom shishim chasra echad, it's also yotza. Because if you count, the first Naziris is ended on the 30th. And if you start counting that day, the 60th day is the 31st day. The 59th day would be the 30th day if you count that 30th day. So b'di'eved, it would work. The Zu Edus Heid Rav Papias Amish Nazar Shtei Naziris. Testimony was given on a person who made a neder for 2 back-to-back Nazirises. Shim Gilech Zarishona Yom Shloshim Megalech Zashniel Yom Shishim. That if he took his haircut on the 30th day, the second haircut is on the 60th day. And Vim Gilech, which is 31, Vim Gilech Yom Shishim Chosrechad Yotzaf, it's Shiyom Shol Shloshim Olam Naminyan. What's going on? The 30th day of the first Nazirus counts both ways. It counted as the last day of the first and the first day of the second. And that's how the Mishnah wants us to see. And that's how the halacha paskins in the Rambam. Technically, if you said already Nazir, lechatchila, you should take your haircut on the 31st day. If you took it on the 30th day, Yotza. But if you said Nazir Shloshim Yom, you have to take it on the 31st day, otherwise it doesn't work. Same thing, if you did back-to-back Naziruses, you should technically do it on the 31st and the 61st. But if you took a haircut on the 30th, you should lechatchila take the second haircut on the 60th. But if you took it on the 59th, it also yotza, because the shloshim works both ways. Continue the Mishnah. Misham areni nazir. So we've already learned now that lechatchila, you got to keep the whole 30 days as nazir, and you take your haircut on the 31st day. So im nitma yom shloshim soiser sakol. If you were exposed to tum on that 30th day, you have to start again from scratch. Rabbi Eliezer oimer eno soiser elishiva. Rabbi Eliezer says no. Now you're tamei for 7 days. If you touch a mace, you need zayin nikiyim, and you need paraduma sprinkled on you on the 3rd and 7th day. So you cannot bring your korbanos until you're toar, but then after the Sheva Yomim, you can bring your korbanos. So according to Rabbi Eliezer, doesn't wipe everything away. But we paskin not like Rabbi Eliezer, we paskin like the Tanakama, that if you became Tomei on the 30th day, you gotta bring korbanos as you were a Tomei Dik and Nazir, and you got to start counting a new 30 days after you bring your you bring your korbanos Nazir Tomei. Now that was if you said Hareni Nazir Stam. If you said Hareni Nazir Shloshim Yom, then it's no machlokes. Nitme Yom Shloshim Soiser Zakol. There, even Rabbi Eliezer will agree that if you become Tomei, it wipes away all 30 days. Hareni Nazir Meya Yom. Nitme Yom Meya Soiser Sakol. Here Rabbi Eliezer argues, Eina Soiser Ela Shloshim. You have to do a new 30-day Nazirus. We'll have to see why. Nitme Yom Meya Ve'echad, but before he brought his korbanos, right? So the Nazirus is over on 101st day. You got to bring your korbanos and then take a haircut. Remember, the hair was burnt under the pot that was cooking the shlomim. That's what the Torah tells you to do with your hair. So the haircut is sort of combined with the korbanos. So if you were Tomei Yomeh Ve'echad, the Tanakama says Soiser Shloshim Yom. You have to keep another 30 days. Rabbi Eliezer ain't a Soiser L'Shiva. And that's how you do according to halacha. Nazir shenid ma'achar yom alosru yom avas korbanos tahara. If you are Tomei on the day, either day 31, let's say day 100, day 101, Soiser Shloshim Yom Bilvad. Kesed Yazar, maybe korbanos 2 malachar sheyitar. You have to count 7 clean days with paraduma. Then you have to bring the korbanei tuma. Umegaleach tiglachas to take a haircut as a tomei nazir. V'achakach moina shloshim yom b'tahara. You have to count 30 days b'tahara. Umegaleach tiglachas tarma vevi korban tahara. Then you take a real tahara haircut and bring korban tahara. The Gemara. Misham arein nazir. V'nitme yom shloishim. The Tanakama said soiser sakol. Rabbi Eliezer oimer ain't a soiser l'shit. No, you just have to count 7 clean days. Then you can bring your korbanos. Ksavar Rabbi Eliezer, kolachar melos, any tuma that occurs after you finished the Nezirus, it's only Shiva Soiser. You're only Tomei for the 7 days. And Yom Shloishim, according to Rabbi Eliezer, is considered Achar Melois. Tanakama says no, but the Rabbi Eliezer says yes. So the Mishnah said, "Already Nazar Shloishim Yom, v'nitme b'yom Shloishim, soiser sakol." And loy polig Rabbi Eliezer here, by defining specifically 30 days, even Rabbi Eliezer holds it's not considered Achar Melos. So that even according to Eliezer holds the Tumah occurred but within the Naziris. And therefore it wipes away the whole thing. The Mishnah also says, "Arini Nazar Mea Yom, v'nitme b'yom Mea Soiser Sakol." Rabbi Eliezer Oimer Soiser Elo Shloishim. So it only wipes away. You have to start a new 30-day count. And Kula Kedavina Bar Liba Bar Poda Rav Masna. And it's all going according to the way we learned in the first parak about Bar Pod and Bar Masna, that they need Zos, it says Yiyah, which is 30 days. Mishnah. Mishnah Nazar v'hu b'veis hakvaras. Now, one of the prohibitions of Naziris is you can't be metame, you can't go to a cemetery. You can't touch a mace. Now, let's say a person was in a cemetery and he declared Naziris in the cemetery. So we're going to be dealing with the question, is there chalois of the neder or not? Afilu hayasham shloishim yoim. He was in the cemetery for 30 days. He never left. So, ein odel lo min haminyan. Those don't count. He didn't fulfill his Naziris. And Eino Mevi Korban Tumah. The Naziris wasn't chal on him. The moment he leaves the Beis HaKvaros, and then we'll see there could be a chalois. But since he never left, there was never a chalois of Naziris. And therefore, it's not like he became a Nazir became Tomei, and he owes Korbanos. There's no Naziris Bichlal. Now, Yotze v'nichnas, if he left the Beis HaKvaros and then came back, then Oidenlo, though the days that he was out of the Beis HaKvaros, that counts for the minyan. And therefore there's a chalos. And therefore, if he goes back into the cemetery, maybe Korban Tumah. And if he didn't do a complete 30-day Naziris out, he'll have to, he now brings Korbanos as a Nazir Tamei, and then you have to count clean days and start again 30 days Nazir. Rav Eliezer Ema lo bo bayom. Going in and going out doesn't work if it's the same day that he went out. Shenemar v'hayomim harishonim yiplu. That means when you become Tamei, the first days have to fall away. But he never had a day to fall away because it was the same day that he came out. And he never had Yomim Rishonim. So let's see the halacha in the Rambam. Misha Nazar umatzu beis hakvaros. Afilu sham kama yamim ein oilin lo. None of it counts. V'nitma b'achas ben hatumah shenazar mekalech aleim. Eino mekalech, eino maybe korban. There's no tumah because he never becomes a nazir. However, yotze b'nichnas, nazir shenazir b'beis hakvaros v'yotze misham. And then he's of a tova v'tah. He's in the cemetery, so he's tamei. So on the 3rd and 7th day, paradum is sprinkled on him. He goes to the mikveh. Now he's taught. Umana yamim, and they counted 20 days. Naziris. V'chazal beis when they went into the cemetery. Also yamim shemana b'tarim olim lo. Those count. But if going into the cemetery, he did something that causes a nazir to become tomei and to break the count and bring korbanos, so we would wipe away the 20 days. We'll have to see what does he have to do in the cemetery to make that happen. He may not just, it may not be just going in there. He may have to be oil all over a maze. Who maybe korban tuma galechtik lachas tuma could be like the Gemara is going to explain. Itma, back to the Gemara. Misha Nazir v'hu b'veis hakvaros. Person took a Nazirus vow standing in a cemetery. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Nazirus chala alav. There's chalois Nazirus. Because Sava Rashi, the high man, the Mekabel Nazirus b'veis hakvaros, mitla talya v'kai, he's suspending it. Even the Mishkachas tar, once he knows, once he becomes tar, after he leaves the cemetery and gets paraduma, and it gets repeated third and seventh day, and goes to the mikvah, he's taking the Nazirus, not the basic verse, so you understand that this is what's going to happen. It's toilet, it's suspended. Even if he doesn't repeat and say, oh, I'm going to repeat what I said in the basic verse. No. Reish Lakish disagrees. If he says, once he goes through the Tahara process, he says, even if he didn't say the word aha nazir, but if he doesn't say at least that, lo. And therefore, if he is metame with himself without declaring all this and drinks wine, it doesn't cause anything because there was no chalois nazirus according to Reish Lakish.
Does a person have to be tohar if he takes upon himself nazirus? Some a man says, "Harei nazir." Do the man have to be a tohar, or does he? Can he go into?
That's the machlokas we're just going through now.
No, but that's only been. No, but that's Tom if he's dafka in a cemetery. But let's say not being in a cemetery.
Because he's tomei now. It's because he's tomei now.
But let's say a man's stam. He's never been.
Because the cemetery is tumas mace. Tumas sheretz, we'll see, may not interfere with nazirus because there's no prohibition to be matami to a sheretz as a nazir.
So he has to be avad tuma.
Tumas mace. Tumas mace.
Which is an avad tuma.
Okay, but there's other avad tuma. It's not the only avad tuma. It's zivus, nidus. There's other avad tuma.
So what kind of condition does he have to be in before he accepts the zeros?
So now we're learning that in a Beis HaKvoros, first of all, there's no chalos according to anybody until after he purifies himself. You have to be a Nazir Tohar in order for Nazirs to make sense. Right? So even according to Rabbi Yochanan that says there's a Chalois Naziris, the Chalois Naziris only occurs a week later after he has Paraduma, third and seventh, goes to the mikvah, and then when he becomes Tohar, he becomes a Nazir automatically without saying anything.
So it's not restricted to a Beis HaKvoros. Stop it. Could be anybody, right? And who becomes anybody who becomes takes upon himself has to be pure before the chalos takes place.
No, he cannot have tumas mace.
But any other kind of tumah?
So we will deal with that. But right now, if a person was handed a sheretz and he's tomei for that day, he has to go to the mikvah and have Erev Shemesh, and that night he's tohar. So we're going to learn whether or not a person can declare Nazirus in that status. He might be able to, because that doesn't, and we'll see whether that type of tumah breaks Nazirus. Person is a Nazir, 20 days, and he touches a sheretz. Does that break his Nazirus? We'll see whether it does or not. But we're premature. Right now, we're dealing with the question, he's in a basic forest and he's therefore Thomas Mace. Thomas Mace is something that we know breaks Nazirus. So is there even a chalois? There's no chalois until he becomes tar.
Right. Thanks.
Rav Yochanan Nazirus chalala. Savar mitlataya v'kaima. It's suspended. Even the mishkacha. Eventually, he's going to be in a matzav. He's going to be a betahara once he leaves chayla, and it starts right away, meaning that the etzem of the neder is chal from the time he made the neder. He just cannot. There's no ability for it to have a chalois b'poyal, but theoretically, it could start even from right now. We paskin like Rav Yochanan. The Rambam says, Misha Nazar v'hu b'beis hakvaras, Nazirus chala Allah. The Nazirus is chal. Now we'll see, what does that mean? Reish Lakish Amar ein Nazirus chal Allah. And however, eventually, Ihadar v'Omar, after he left, and he becomes tar, he says, I'm going to accept Nazirus chayla v'lo lo, and if he doesn't make the extra statement, it's not chal. So Eis Rav Yochanan Reish Lakish. From our Mishnah, Mishnah Nazar v'Beis HaKvaros, Afilo Yasham Shloshim Yom Ein Olam Naminyan. It doesn't count. Ve'enu Mevi Korban Tuma. Korban Tuma Hu Shalom Ma'isi. HaMeichel Chayli Alei. But there's chalois of the neder. Amr lay, no, ain't a b'Torah's tomb, and therefore ain't a b'Torah's korban. So he's not a nazir at all, says Reish Lakish. Eisvei. Rav Yochanan will still ask a kasha. Mishaya Tomei v'Nazar. He's Tomei, and he accepted Nazirus. Asur legaleach v'lishtos yain v'l'tam l'meisim. That's Tumas Mace. The Rambam says, Mishaya Tomei Tumas Mace v'Nazar, Chalal of Nazirus, v'nitna pamacheres, and if he becomes Tomei again, after he was Metayer, O Shosa Yano Gilech Loike, he'll get Malchus. So there's a chalois of the Nazirus. Right? Also Galech V'lishto Sayim L'tam L'Mesim, V'im Gileach, or imnit melamesim, or as a soivig boy. He gets malchus. Now, that only makes sense if you say there's a chaloitz of the ned there. Hainu taima shesoivig boy. If you say it's not, there's no chaloitz, why is he getting malchus? Reish Lakish has a lot to answer. We'll see Reish Lakish's answer tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll learn at 7:30. Because of this rise here at 8 p.m.